Alright, I'm over here at Mike's house. Here's my taco. And what's going on here, buddy? You starting a junkyard or something? Oh, that's mine.
I don't know who owns that thing.
That's mine. Oh well. Yeah, Mike is taking me back here behind his barn, and he said he has something here that he thinks I'll really like. Right here, Mike, is this brown thing?
Yep.
Let me see what you got.
Alright, let's take a look at it. Now, if you ever wanted to know what a survivor looks like for a junkyard.
Oh, that's why you bring me here, because you know I love survivors.
Yeah, this is it right here.
Yeah. Anybody don't know what a survivor is? It's an original car, or I guess any kind of equipment. I can see the bottom, Mike. I'm liking it already. Yeah, it's something original, never messed with, and oh man, look at this. Is that a magnesizer, Mike?
It is. Yes, it is.
Mike, I don't even know what a magnesizer is.
That's good eyes you have.
I'm just reading it.
Yep.
Wow. What is it, man? So, I know it's an Onan, but what do you got here?
It's a 1964, I think it's an EC, is it? Yep, it's a 30 EC. Can you see that?
I do, yeah.
64. I believe it's a 64.
Wow.
So it's a 30 kilowatt, 120, 208, three-phase, and it's back when Onan was owned by Studebaker.
I was just going to ask you that. Yep. Studebaker owned them?
Yep, I believe they bought out Onan in the late 50s.
Wow.
So that's when it stopped being D.W. Onan and Sons, and then it became Onan division of Studebaker. The same Studebaker that was in the automotive industry.
Yeah, it was only one Studebaker right there.
Well,
They were top of the line at one time. They were ahead of everybody. You know, and they didn't last much longer than 64. Mike, I think 65 was the last year, 66.
Yeah, and then after that, I believe Onan was owned by McGraw Edison up until about the 80s, when maybe 80s into the 90s, and that's when Cummins bought them out. So
this is that metallic green that everybody likes.
Exactly. That's what really drew me to this. That's like you said, that metallic green that they did in the late 40s, early 50s, and into the 60s. So
that's crazy. Look at the lettering on this.
Mm-hmm.
That's silk screened, right? That's not a.
No, that's not a decal.
No, that's not a decal.
It's silk screened on there.
Wow, not a scratch on that.
Yeah. This was the particular customer that owned this unit has a number of survivors in a facility, and unfortunately I think this one has a thrown rod.
Oh really?
Yeah, so it needs a little love. It had a rough, I don't want to say it had a rough life, but toward the end there it was getting a little neglected. But you can see, I mean, it's got an original lower coolant hose on it. You know, it's just so many.
Look at the original dash panel and everything. Look at it. Look at the shape of that is.
Mm-hmm.
That's incredible. And over here, that's an original hose?
Yeah, original lower coolant hose.
What would that be? 50, how many years?
56 years old now. Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, they got their money's worth.
They did. They paid. I'd say it paid its dues.
So.
And it's got a Ford inline 6 here?
Yeah, it's a 223 cubic inch inline 6, if I'm not mistaken. So it's, you know, the engine predates the gen set a little bit. It was an older design by the time.
What's going on here?
Oh, my starter's missing. So since the customer has a few of these that are still in service, they wanted to take the starter as a spare.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know,
what is that? Is that a Ford starter or Onan starter?
That's the interesting thing, and I've had trouble tracking it down. In the Onan parts manual for this, they call for 2 different starters, and the one I can't find any information on, and the other one it's still not very. See, the odd thing is the one that they call for takes a different pinion gear. It's a coarse tooth pinion gear, where this has a fine tooth flywheel. It's interesting. I'm not a starter expert. I don't know how to describe it, but you know what? This is YouTube. The same story.
Somebody gonna know that.
If anybody has a starter for one of these, let me know, because it's not a starter for a 1964 Ford. It won't work on this.
Right.
It's a bit different. The bell housing's not the same. This is an Onan made bell housing, not a Ford bell housing. So that's where we get into some issues locating it.
Wow.
But
that's a shame, because somebody has a dozen of them sitting on a shelf somewhere.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And can't give them away.
Like original voltage regulator for the battery charging generator. I mean, underneath this grease is all that beautiful metallic paint.
What's going on up here? Look at that. That's metal, ain't it?
Yeah, that's not a plastic stick-on.
That's
anymore.
a casting.
Yeah, yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, what's going on with the paint and stuff here?
Well, this unit was installed in a basement, and the radiator, I should say, the engine fan blows this way, so the hot air is blown out of the radiator toward us.
Not like
back
the car.
over the engine, right? So there was actually a piece of ducting attached to the front here, and it was ducted out and up to the first floor and out the side of the wall. Same thing with the exhaust. The
That makes
exhaust
sense.
is routed up and out.
That's cool.
So
and what is it? Can you actually start this with a crank if you had to?
Yeah, it's got I don't have the crank, but it has a nose piece on the front of the crankshaft, so you could rotate it if you wanted to.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's interesting. And a 6-cylinder, you probably could turn it over easy. Huh. Oh well. And what are you gonna do? You gonna clean it up and
well,
try and get it running?
I would like to figure out really what's going on. It runs, but it rattles really bad when it's running.
Oh, yeah.
So I think a connecting rod let loose. I'm not 100% sure, but I think a connecting rod let loose.
Oh well.
So we're gonna dive into it and figure it out.
You know what you do? I'm gonna end this video, but you ought to continue on, and because this is actually Mike's camera. But once you clean it up, you ought to put it on or continue on this video. You know, depending on how you're feeling, buddy. But you're right, though. I do like this. It's crazy. You know, when you take care of stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, the funny thing is I don't. This particular customer didn't really take care of anything. They didn't do any preventative maintenance. Everything was left as it was. So, but at the same time, you got to think of it. It didn't really need much maintenance or repair because these were built so well back then. That, you know, look at that. A voltage regulator. You know. For the generator. It doesn't have an alternator on it. It's got a battery charging generator. That's original, and that still works. That's saying something. Yep. You know?
Pretty cool, buddy. All right, I'm going to shut it down. Onan. 64 Onan.
64 Onan, yep.
You go, boy.
All right, let's go ahead and continue on with this video. I pulled the old 30 EC out from behind the barn, hosed it off, and you can really see that original paint shine. There's just something about that old Onan green that makes me smile. I don't know what it is. It's just a nice color. It's unique. You can tell from 500 feet away if it's an Onan, if it's got that color. So I think we mentioned earlier that I believe this unit here has a throne rod, and I'll go into a quick little backstory. Customer of ours has a lot of units of this era, a lot of these old Onans still in service, and they went through about a 36-hour utility failure last summer. Most of their units ran for the duration of that 36-hour shutdown. This one here, after about 28 hours, the customer noted that it was making a lot of noise, excessive noise as they told me, and they shut it down. So upon arriving on the site and taking a look at the unit, found it had no oil showing on the dipstick. So topped it off with oil, went to start it up, and it started right up, but yeah, it was rattling pretty bad. There's no external signs of a cracked block or anything like that, just didn't have any oil in it. So, odd thing is that this unit should shut down on low oil pressure. It has that function as well as high engine temperature and overspeed. But we're not going to dive into that right now. I think pretty much what I want to do now is pull these spark plugs out and take a peek down there, turn the engine over by hand, and see if I can find a piston's not moving. And then we'll, depending on what we see there, we'll pull that oil pan. And we'll pull the oil filter too, and cut that open and see if we got any metal in there. So let's get to it. Alright, here's our spark plugs. Nothing looks out of the ordinary there. Let's take a look over here. I like these old Ford industrial engines, or any old Ford really, because the distributor caps are labeled with the cylinder number that the wire goes to. It's very handy. So, let's turn it over here and take a listen. Don't hear anything clunking around in there. That kind of back and forth rattle we're hearing is just my extension. It's wobbling back and forth. Gonna have to get a light and take a peek down each cylinder while I'm turning it over. Okay, well, I was wrong. We don't have a thrown rod. All 6 pistons do go up and down. However, I think something's fishy with number 6. Just the way that piston moves at the top of the stroke, I think we got a spun bearing there. So I tried to set you up for a shot to get a look down the hole there so you could watch and see what I'm seeing, but with the lighting, it's really not going to happen. So let's pull the oil filter off, cut that apart, and see if we got any metal filings or shavings in there, and then we're going to drop this pan. By the way, I believe this is a Ford 223 inline 6. So this gen set's a 64. So, you know, the industrial model, well, here's the industrial tag here. So a B6 PF, I believe, is a 223 inline 6. Alright, let's take a look at that oil filter. Alright, let's work at this filter here. Let's see. Didn't get quite all the oil out of it. I noticed the oil has a bit of a not metallic, well, not really shiny look to it, but like there's a bit of sludge in it. So we can slice that cap. Quite want to bite there. Work that off. Seemed like it wanted to go easy at first. I did a better job gluing this side. Wow, usually these cartridges don't fight me that hard. because I'm doing it on camera, I'm sure. I don't see metal chunks falling out of it, so that's a plus. Oop, jeez. Take my hand off. Jeez. Say one thing, the oil smells very burnt. Well, let me get a magnet, start running it up and down there, and see what we find. Well, I wish I could tell you guys that I found a bunch of metal in this filter here, but I really didn't find anything. Just a couple tiny little particles, but nothing really. So, I just went ahead and I pulled the oil pan off, and I found the metal I was looking for. So, a lot of shavings and stuff at the rear of the pan. A lot of stuff, a lot of big chunks down here in the sump. Looks like bearing to me. Very interesting. It's all scrunched up like. Very interesting. Well, let's stop analyzing that and let's go look at the good stuff at the bottom of the engine. Real nice, you can fish these pans out on these older gen sets. You can fish the pan out without doing anything crazy. So I'm going to set a light down here, and I can't really see. This is going to be my first time looking at it through the camera lens. Okay, there's the rear main. There's number 6. That's the one I think has an issue. 5, main, 4, 3, main, 2, 1, and then main. Oil pump there, and what's the bottom of the screen? Oil pickup screen looks okay. Let me reach my hand up here. Zoom in. Oh, it doesn't look right, does it? Nope. No, that doesn't look right at all. Wow. Is that rod cap really about to fall off of there? Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Look at that. Wow. You know, the funny thing is, look at this. I could take this right off. Wow. I've never seen one come this close to throwing a rod, but not actually throwing a rod. If this thing would have ran a minute or two longer, these nuts probably would have come off, and I bet you that the rod would have went through the block. Let's see, get that cap out of there if I can. It wants to come out. Wow. I have never seen that before, where it's just right at the edge of coming off. Let's see if I can get my other hand up there. Sorry about the angle here. No, doesn't quite want to come off. It's close though. But that was the noise. That was the noise I was hearing. Cranking it over, that's for sure. Let me get a glove on, and I'll see if I can yank that cap off of there. Okay, well, there's your number 6 connecting rod end cap. Wow, that's something. Let's take a look at the crank. I see some bearing there. Here's the journal. Wow, that's funny. Yeah, the journal has some scratches, but nothing really bad. That's really something. Wow. I wonder what the other bearings look like. Some debris must have went through the oiling system. Wow. What about this one? Can I wiggle this one at all? Where the hell is it? There it is. That one's got a little bit of movement to it. That's really something. What about this one here? Where is it? There it is. Remember, I'm looking through the viewfinder of the camera at this point, so forgive me if it seems like I don't know where I'm going. It's a main. I can't get the other one. Oh, there it is. Wow. You know, if I really needed this generator going, you know, if my life depended on it, I'd slip a new bearing in there, throw that cap on, and start her back up. That's really something. Huh. But of course, we're going to have to do it properly now that we know what the problem is. Pull the rest of the bearing caps off, and let's see, pull the bearing caps off, see what they look like. I'm sure there's copper exposed on them. Probably needs a whole new set of bearings. That crank journal, I don't know. I think we'll get the thing blocked up so I can get under there and clean it off and put a micrometer on it, see what it comes in at. Wow. Testament to the old Ford quality. That's really something. Just kept running. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. That's all I'm going to do on this one for now. So, thanks for watching.